Hi, this is Brent-Anthony Johnson for JamPlay.com. In this lesson, we're going to cover some basics about false harmonics and how to get those wonderful bell tones. And as we go forward, I'll show you a few things that I do to warm those things up and to kind of keep those things sharp in my playing. My fretting hand is really responsible for for primarily making this particular sound. It calls for a very, very, very light touch. So what we're going to do is go to your G string on the 5th fret, and on the wire of the 5th fret, right there, the fret wire, as lightly as you can, touch the string with any digit. It doesn't matter, index finger. We can try that. And I've also noticed that in the plucking hand, the further away I am towards the bridge, that helps the sound. You can get harmonics playing here, over the neck pickup position, if you will, but it's crisper. I think it sounds a little more crisp and a little more defined as you play back towards the bridge. So that's where I play that. That note, this wonderful bell tone, played on the wire of the 5th fret of the G string, on the wire itself, barely touching it, not pressing it all the way down to the fingerboard. That pitch is a G. So if you then play on the 5th fret on the D string, there's another wonderful bell tone. A string, 5th fret. E string, 5th fret. Once again, barely touching the string. Harmonics basically constitute a node point in the sort of revolution of the string, and by not pressing the string all the way to the fingerboard but barely touching it, you actually kind of move the node point. There's certain just harmonic node points in any linear string, so this just happens to be where these pitches are. You can play them almost at every harmonic on the fingerboard. Some of them are kind of clunky and loud and weird, and some of them just don't work right. Some of them need to be played with 2 fingers, and we might get into that a little bit. But if you just simply start at the 1st fret, try to do that. I would start at the 5th fret actually, just to make sure that you're getting a good tone, and then just work your way up the entire fingerboard, lightly touching at the fret wire. Now there are node points between the frets. And what I'm doing there is just simply lightly, very lightly touching the string and running it sort of up and down the G string between the 1st and 3rd fret, or 1st and 2nd fret, as it were. Now I am going to the 3rd fret. And that's a really fun way to kind of get that idea started. So here we are back at the 3rd fret, 4th fret, 5th fret. We've heard those before. 6th fret. Some of them aren't very desirable musically, but they make really fun sounds. So that'd be one of those. That'd be one of those places for harmonics to either play them or not. Here we are at the 7th fret, 8th fret, 9th fret, 10th fret, 11th fret. Would be another place for sort of a noise more than a defined pitch. But here's the thing: at the 12th fret, the double dots here on your fingerboard, if you lightly touch the node point just above the fret, you get a really nice representation of a false harmonic that is an octave of the actual open string that you're playing. So this would be G. There's G again. D. D again. E. A rather. A again. And E. So one fun thing to do to kind of put that together is you can play the open pitch of an open string, and play the 12th fret on the 12th fret, and then you go back to the 5th fret, and you get an octave. So there's 3 G's there. Here's 3 D's, 3 A's, 3 E's. So that's a really fun thing to do. Working your way upward past the 12th fret, you get some decent pitches, but not a wide variety of them necessarily. As a matter of fact, at your 17th fret, you can sort of get an octave higher above the note at the 5th fret. So you can sort of get that. So there's that. So it works pretty well, and it's really fun to do. It's a fun workout. One of the things I really enjoy doing in my playing is incorporating harmonics with fretted notes to sort of broaden sort of the tone of the instrument and add some sort of harmonic material behind the foundation. So once you play a note, say like D on the 5th fret of your A string, and on the 7th fret, now that's a fretted note, by the way. I'm fretting D, well, pressed all the way to the fingerboard. Now, lightly touching the 7th fret D string harmonic, and then lightly touching the 7th fret false harmonic on the G string. So you can hear that this is a D. That you can hear this note is an A. So what you've got here, if you play this, is fretted note D, false harmonic A, false harmonic D. And the way I'm playing that, just for convenience sake, in my plucking hand, is I'm playing the fretted note with my thumb, then I'm playing the A on the 7th fret of the D string with my index finger, and then the D on the harmonic on the 7th fret of the G string with my middle finger. So if you play those things together, sounds pretty good. It sounds really good. So if you go to A, fret that note, and on the 7th fret of your A string, you're getting an E. See? There's an E, and then there's an A. So you have a fretted note A, false harmonic E, and then false harmonic A. So we play those together. That's what it sounds like. So you've got D, you've got A. Now, the practice of playing harmonics, false harmonics while fretting a note, you need a lot of space here in your fretting hand. So I typically lower my thumb below the apex of the curve of the neck, where at the top of the curve of the neck, I kind of play with my thumb below that, and give myself a lot of space here. So I'm not choking up on the neck trying to get that information done, because you'll notice that if you fret like that, your finger's going to be touching these strings, and you can't get harmonics that way. So I sort of reach over those other strings to play the fretted note, or any note for that matter. So if you move this up a whole step, which is 2 frets, put your index finger, what is now on E, fretting the note E, you can play that same shape with a fretted E. See what I mean? And then, so you've got the same idea as on the 5th fret, now you're playing on the 7th fret. I'm playing them the exact same way in my plucking hand, thumb, index, middle, thumb, index, middle. And it just adds depth to sounds that you want to make. I wouldn't do it all the time. Playing false harmonics can be a little, it can sort of undo good solid foundational bass work. A lot of guys, when they discover harmonics, sort of skip over playing the groove to play some fun, high-end pinging noise. But it's a good thing to experiment with, while you're practicing. Divide your practice times into periods of time when you're specifically learning about music and how music works and the building blocks of music. Reading, going through a book, studying with a good teacher, those sorts of things. Then there has to be another point in your practice time when you're specifically learning songs, specifically focused on technique and those sorts of things. Studying any instrument can be sort of a daunting experience because there's so much to learn at once. There's so much to do at once. And so kind of break it up into periods of time when you're learning this thing specifically. And then, another technique altogether, focusing on playing a solid note or a solid series of eighth notes, and making sure that your hands are working together. And even with playing harmonics, try to play them on different digits of your fretting hand. That's a really good exercise. So that's just one digit at a time. And that's a really great exercise. You can do that in a lot of different places on the fingerboard, and you will probably find that certain of your fretting hand digits sound better when they play harmonics than others. Don't know why that is exactly, but it's been one of my ongoing sort of little practices when I'm using harmonics, using false harmonics, to employ sort of different digits to see which one sounds better. Especially if I'm composing or using harmonics in a piece or adding them to a bass line that I'm playing, and that's a great thing to do. It's a lot about self-discovery when we're learning about our instruments. So you can play on the 3rd fret, 5th fret, 7th fret as an exercise. That's kind of a fun thing to do, and playing it backwards. And that helps, once your sort of fretting hand knows what it's supposed to do and the idea of the exercise, you can really focus on your plucking hand and make sure that you're getting the right sort of sounds. Once again, if you play closer, the closer you play to the fingerboard with false harmonics, you're going to get a little different tone. You're going to get a lot more string attack than perhaps if you're playing in a sweet spot between the two pickups, or if you're playing back by the bridge. So that's one of the things I recommend, is playing back by the bridge. Have fun. See you next time on JamPlay.com.